All right, welcome back to the shop. Tape 31 of the 2025 build series. So off camera this morning, after I got done sanding out, I shot everything in black sealer. I'm using Autoborn sealer, 6002 sealer black as the base. So what you see here is just one coat. It goes on really nicely, and it's flat. So one coat is on there. We do got some things I saw, one the black one on, which I expected, that we're gonna have to go touch up now. So I'm gonna sand a lot of this off, and then we'll reshoot black. But some parts came out really nice, like the flaps and elevators. I don't think I'd do anything to it. It's so good they came out. But the fuse is all done. And all this fuse sander, this is less than 1/4 ounce of color on it. But if you look, there's a couple spots I didn't love. I already started to sand some of it. And now it's all nice and flat. You can look down it and you can see a reflection of it now. And that's kind of what you want. So what I'll do is I'll sand this with 500 or 600. I have 500 foam back paper. Marika, you can get it from Amazon. This stuff's pretty good. A little expensive, but very good. It's foam back. So it allows you to put pretty even penetration on it. But if you what you'll see about this stuff, what I really like, is that it'll sand nicely. It powders right off. And it was only shot a few hours ago. It doesn't really clump up the paper. So we'll let the sand out begin. What you want to do is you just want to sand it down until it's all flat. You may have to go through in some spots. If you were happy with the surface prep, you would be able to just go right over with the next color. There's a couple things I just wasn't happy with, and a couple dry spots, and a few other things I just wasn't thrilled with. So I'm just going to sand it all out, and wherever I go through, I'll just touch up. As you can see, it just powders right down. I take a rag here. And if you can see down it, you can see where it's almost perfectly flat. A couple spots, a couple little shiny spots. So we'll go through all this and sand it out until it's right. So like I said, if I got to shoot it again with black, it'll just be a couple spots touching up. So I do need the black to start a green. And one thing about black is it really shows any flaws. Anything will show up in black. Even this flat black, I'll call it, this satin look, it shows all the imperfections. So, much like silver does. I know Wendy was a big fan of using silver. But you see, the paper doesn't even clog up with this stuff, and this is only dry a few hours. Again, it's just one coat. So that's the other thing I like about it too. The coverage is really good. Like I said, I'm going to sand through in a few spots, which is fine. Yeah. Try to use a circular motion here. And the high spots come right through, which is fine. And if you need to here, if you got a low spot somewhere that you know you're not going to be able to sand to, you could fill it with the green 3M stuff. You see, there's a couple dry spots here. I should use a little more resin in the layout, but it's okay. You can see it sands out pretty good. This stuff just powders right off. I would say just be real careful. This is a water-based paint, so I wouldn't go use any water or Windex to clean the plane right now. Once it's dry for a good 24 hours, then yeah, then it's stuff pretty impervious. But when it's still fresh, if you put Windex on it, it'll definitely start to pull the paint up. So I cut the sheets into sizes that fit in your hands, small pieces. The other thing, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I have one pair of scissors that I cut sandpaper with. I don't cut nothing else with it but sandpaper. And I'll resharpen it with it stove, but as you cut the sandpaper, as you can imagine, the grit is wearing the bleed out. But I only use it for sandpaper, so. And I'll just show you like a low spot. Hopefully the camera will pick it up. If you see right there, there's a low spot. Right there is a little low spot. I mean, this is where the wing covers all this, so I'm not going to go crazy. But as I'm sanding, if I got something like that, I'm not going to be able to sand that out. And that's where I'll use the green putty, the green 3M acrylic putty, glazing putty. I'll just fill that with that and then sand it out. But again, that's behind the wing, so I'm not even going to waste my time here. Not really worth it. So. Okay. So I got foam down on the table so I don't bang around the plane. I don't want to add any more work here. But again, when you're done sanding this, you'll be able to look down it and be able to see a reflection. It'll get flatter and flatter and flatter. That's when you know you're really starting to get it. Cannon period was not good at all. This is one of those areas that's got to be really good. Like I said, I will sand everything down. If I run into any real low spots, I'll fill it with the green putty. You can see a dull shine on it when you start to use 500 or 1,000. You'll start to see that dull shine come up. But you can see I got a lot of it pretty good. A couple spots need some more work, but not bad. So I gotta do this all the parts here. I did want to show you guys the flaps and elevators. So what I always recommend making a paint stand for any of these things, you have to hold. But the elevator, I mean, it's pretty good. There's a couple spots, as I look at it now, probably got to do a little work to it. But it's pretty good. And the flaps are pretty good too as well. But again, what I got is I got a 1/8 rod here that's glued into this piece of pine, and then I made a 90-degree with a screw in it, and I put it into one of the hinge slots, and then I just screw it in. So it's the same thing on the elevator. So all right. Usually the nose area needs a bunch of work. Not actually not that bad. So this nose area is going to be black with white checkers on it, so it's got to be pretty good. Anywhere you end up with black on the plane, you got to be pretty good. A couple low spots in there. All right. So I mean that's pretty much what the tape's going to be about today. I only got a little bit of time before the Super Bowl. I figured while I get this painted this morning, I was able to get that done after I shoveled out 2 or 3 inches of snow. So I did get the final paint masks came in. My buddy Cena sent them to me. I was on the phone before going over and getting the measurements right. So I do have the cut files now. So I'm going to see if on maybe one of these episodes I can show how I kind of set the cut files up. Well, there's a low spot I'm not going to get rid of, it looks like. Let's see. If you see right there's a low spot right there, you can feel it. I'm not going to be able to sand that out, so that's going to need some putty. I'll put some putty on it. So what I do is I take a Bondo scraper and I cut it to about, maybe an inch wide. I clean the edges off. Just easy to be able to do this with it. Some guys use a razor blade. You can use that. Just very little bit. You don't need a lot. Spot here. A couple little spots here that just aren't perfect. Another one back here. And then just take your paper towel, clean it. If you leave any on it, it's okay. You just take some lacquer thinner or a rag, it'll come off. Or reducer. So I'll dry up in a second. Got one more spot though, you have to touch up with them. And you can be as fussy as you want here. But I would say anything on the top of the plane, especially like on the top of the turtle deck, something you want to. Anything on this turtle deck area. is something you want to address. Anything, like I said, because that's really what people are going to see. They're going to pick up on that. All right, we got that drying. Go down here, kind of work on the front. Gotta tell you, so one thing nice about a take apart, you can kind of work on each component by itself. If this was a full piece plane, boy, this would be a real pain to get in here. So we'll have a couple touch-up spots, which is fine. This stuff blends real nice anyway, so. I mean, you could just, like I said, if you have a spot, if you just have a spot you want to fix by itself, just stand that one spot, and then you could go right over and be done. If you don't even go through, you could just go right on to the next thing. But I want to take my time here. This is not a big deal if I sand it all out again and touch up a few spots. And black cover is really nice. That's the one thing I will say. Like, this is one coat of black. You get nice even coverage on it. Of course, I was going to paint this morning, and a little windy out. And I was getting snow from the top of the house that actually landed in the wing as I'm painting it. So I got some spots I got to get rid of just because of the weather conditions I had to deal with today. And if you look down this, you got a shine in this thing already. You can actually see pretty clearly my fingers. And that's really nice. But you can see, I mean, we've already gotten 20 minutes into this, and I'm already got more than half of the fuse sanded out. So it doesn't take very long. Ooh, man. Someone asked me how fast the green stuff dries. I put this on about probably 10 minutes ago. And it's already sandable. And if you see, got right through, sanded it, and it all just blends right. You can't even feel it. So, but that was put on about 10 minutes ago. It's already dry enough to sand. Again, it's only a really thin coat. Again, the canopy area is really important, especially in this one's gonna have we paint with a metallic purple looking blue, which will show any flaw in it. So, like if you're gonna spend time in the canopy area, spend time on the top of the fuselage, the nose, you know, the top of the wing, especially close to the fuselage. That's where people pay a lot of attention to when they look at it. Okay. I think I found a piece of fiber. Yeah. Alright, so I have a piece here. So a piece of fiberglass here that must not have attached to it or came loose and didn't adhere. So just poke a bunch of holes in, take some thin CA, and just wick it into the holes. We're gonna take your rag, push it down. Okay, now it's a little low spot. Okay. All right. So I do got a few spots on the stab where I think I have some adherence problems on one side, right by the trailing edge. I don't know how well you can see it, but if you look, there's a couple little bit of bubbles here. I'm gonna just take a same thing right about to here so much, pop, 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 and then fill it in. But yeah, because that will only come back to get you later, especially when it sits out in the sun or something. Those anywhere you don't have good adherence. Like I said, I see a couple spots right here on the stab I have to work through, where for whatever reason I didn't get great adherence. But we'll work through it. Now let's dry and I'll sand. Sand on a battery hatch. All right, nice and flat. So about 30 minutes, and I got just about the entire fuse done. I just have to do the bottom. So you can see this stuff sands pretty quickly. It powdered right off. So after I'm done sanding it, what I'll do is I'll blow it all off with the blowgun. Now I'll wipe it with a tack cloth too, just to get any dust off of it. Oh. So the bottom is probably the roughest, I would say. There's a couple spots I don't like at all. Let's see what we got. We'll sand it out, and if we have to, we'll put another coat of black on in those areas, and just keep sanding. You're not adding a lot of paint here. This is you gotta be careful of. Whatever you put on, you make sure you take off to the final on, because if you just keep putting paint on, you can fill anything, just keep putting paint on it. But there is a price to pay. And when I shot the black on this, I put, for the fuselage, I put the tail and the back half on. I wanted to make sure I got it and not build up paint a lot in a lot of spots. But a lot of times I need a color, I'll put the plane together or some components together to shoot the color. When I shoot the clear, I shoot them all in independent pieces, just because I'm so afraid that as I put the clear on, I'll end up sticking it together. But if you're only putting, you know, color on it, you're not laying the color on really hard or heavy. You know, this is almost like shooting a dust coat on. You can get away with putting it together. The air outlet came out really nice. A little light sanding in there, just knocked down any dust that was in there. Just feeling, I don't like that one spot there. So it feels low. What I'm going to do is use some CA in there. Gonna use some thick CA to kind of build it up a little bit. Alright, so I got a little bead of thick CA. Now we'll do is we'll take the rag and we'll wipe this in now. So we'll just keep rolling in. Oh, much better. Must have been a really low spot or a piece of grain or something that was sitting there, but now you can't feel it. It's gone. So the other thing, to take apart hardware as well, tape, the mating surfaces of tape, because I don't want to build them up. I did leave this side, the side that sticks out, that's going to be the color of the plane, but everything else is taped up. The other thing is I do a tape all the controls, or I put heat shrink around the controls, and even around the bell crank I heat shrink just to keep it from getting painted. Just because it's sloppy or could make things bind up, and because it just don't look professional. Okay. All right. Some more paper. So that's what I'm gonna do for the rest of the components. The wings don't need hardly at all. They need a little bit. There's a couple spots I didn't like on the bottom of the inboard wing. There's a couple spots I didn't love. So I'm gonna touch those up. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm gonna be doing for the next couple tapes. And again, this is where you want the better to finish, the more fussy you gotta be. You know, I probably could have maybe got away with it, what I had. It would probably cost me some extra clear. You know, you just put clear in those really bad spots, then you go to put the finish on. But anytime you're using metallic paint or anything changing color paint or any dark colors, really you got to get it right, otherwise it will show. You know, again, spend your time on the top for sure, especially the turtle deck area, the nose area, top of the wings. Alright, I'm sanding up that spot where the green stuff is. I mean, if you had to, you could, you know, if you had a spot you didn't love and you weren't sure about it, you could just take some primer and shoot that spot. You know, spot prime a few parts. Like if you're not happy about something or something you're not thrilled about, you could just shoot a little touch of primer in that spot and then sand it in. I may do that on the wing or stab area. A couple spots I don't like at all, but we'll see. You know, once I make what I think the repair is, shoot it with just with a touch of primer. Okay. And there you go. Oh, spot there. And there you go. I mean, I just got to do under the nose a little bit, I think. Which actually is in pretty good shape. Alright, after I clean it down, I'll make sure I don't miss anything, any spots, but that's kind of what we're doing on the rest of the parts here. We're just going to go through them to get them to where I'm happy with them. So just to show you, here's the wing. A couple spots on the leading edge. Looks like a dry spot there. It's the outboard wing. There's a right over here. There's a couple spots I just don't love. I mean, they're flat, but they must have been dry or something. But overall, not too bad. But that'll be a quick sand out and maybe touch up with some black paint. Alright, so that's all I got for today. Gonna kind of just do a lot of sand in here. Getting it ready. I should have it ready for paint, I would say, probably by next weekend. Or at least for some taping and masking. So I'll go over how I cut the masks, and I'll show you how I mask it. So if you enjoyed the videos, like them, tell your friends, subscribe. Thanks for watching.